This After Effects tutorial is made possible by artbeatsexpress.com. Create a free Artbeats Express account today and receive free high quality broadcast resolution stock media content. Content includes footages, images, After Effects templates, sound effects, and more. Click the link in the description below. Hey guys, what's up? This is Nikhil from dopemotions.com and welcome to this brand new After Effects tutorial. Today we're going to take a look at creating this clean, simple and professional looking logo reveal into After Effects. So with that said, let's get straight into the tutorial and get started. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to create a new composition and let's just name this tutorial. Maybe you can name it, of course, whatever you want to. I'm just going to name this tutorial and set the width and height to 1960 by 540, 10 seconds, look okay. Then I'm going to create a new composition and this is going to be our logo comp. So I'm going to name this logo 01 with the same width and height, or maybe I'll just change this to 150 by 150 and I'm going to hit OK. Then I'm going to Control D to duplicate it, so we have logo 1 and logo 2. Then I'm going to go back to my tutorial composition and let's just get started with this thing. So I'm going to create a new shape layer. I'm just going to roughly draw a rectangle like so, and let's just change the color to something like white. Then I'm going to go down to my rectangular path properties and now I'm going to unlink this and set the maybe width to 20 pixels and height to 20 pixels. So now you can see we get this really small square. So I'm just going to set this up into the center, but before that, let's just rename this to stroke 01. Alright, then I'm going to increase the roundness to 100 so we get this really nice kind of a circle or dot, you can say. And let's just position this thing into center pretty quick like so. Then I'm going to turn on my title action save, so you can turn this on from right over there if you want to, and make sure you're on the beginning of the composition and drag this out of the frame. Then I'm going to select the layer and hit P to bring down the position properties, right click and separate dimensions. So now we get separate dimensions for X and separate controls for Y as well. So you can work with the normal position if you want to, but I like to work this way because it makes really simple and easy to let me understand. So I'm going to create a new keyframe at the beginning. Go to 1 second and let's just drag this in like so. So yep, right over there we have some really nice animation, really great, just kidding. Then I'm gonna just hit Ctrl Shift D to split this layer. Now we have stroke 2. I'm just gonna get rid of all the keyframes right over there, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring down the properties of stroke 2, that is the rectangular properties. Go to rectangular path. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the stopwatch of the size and create a keyframe on 1 second. Then I'm going to go to 2 seconds and change the width to 5 pixels and height to 150. So now we have something like this. It looks pretty boring at the moment, but we're going to make this look really nice, give some anticipation to it. Then I'm going to also keyframe the roundness. So I'm just going to go at 2 seconds and bring this down to 0. So now it turns back into a rectangle. So now I'm going to hit Ctrl Shift D. So now we have stroke 3 and get rid of all the keyframes. The reason I'm going and splitting this layers, to make you guys understand really nicely, because if I did this in one single layer, it may get a little bit of messy. So it's a really nice way to make you guys understand. So I just came up with this thing to split the layers. You can also do this thing within or maybe on the same layer as well if you want to. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close this up and let's just give some anticipation to this keyframes that we created previously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to stroke 1 and select all the keyframes of stroke 1, that is the 2 keyframes. I mean, not all the keyframes. I mean, there are just 2 keyframes. So to give really nice anticipation, I'm going to select all the keyframes, and I mean the 2 keyframes, and hit F9 to ease them and go to graph editor and go to value graph. So now I'm going to create a really nice kind of a curve to So I'm gonna drag this right over there, and maybe I'll drag this one a little bit of further. And if I just pretty quickly ramp preview it, you can see now we have this really nice motion to it, and it looks pretty better than before. So I'm gonna do the same thing with the stroke 2. So I'm gonna select the keyframes, hit F9, go to graph editor, and you can see now it looks a little bit messy. So what I like to do is switch between the value graph and the speed graph. So I'm going to go to edit value graph, edit speed graph, and select these keyframes, and let's create kind of a peak into the center. So I want the animation to start slow and end up slow as well, so it gives a little bit of kind of a rapid movement in the between of the animation. So I'm going to create kind of a peak. So now you can see where the peak is high, the movement or the animation is gonna be really fast. So you can see now it looks really nice than before, maybe a little bit more. I'll just tweak this a bit more, just right over there. Yeah, that looks nice, I guess. Yeah, perfect, looks perfect to me. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this thing. Yeah. Alright, so let's just move on to stroke 3. So I'm going to close 1 and 2 and go to stroke 3. So now what I'm going to do is let's select the stroke 3, turn on my title action save, go to very beginning of the stroke 3, that is on the 2 seconds, and create a keyframe on X position, go to 3 seconds and drag this right over there. So now you can see the title action save really helps, works kind of like guides for us. So now we have this really nice animation, and I'm going to do the same exact thing. So hit Ctrl Shift D and create a new layer and get rid of all the keyframes. Create a keyframe on X position, go to 4 seconds, and before going further, I'm going to drag in my logo composition and go into the logo comp. Hit Ctrl Y to create a new solid, and let's just name this BG. And maybe I'll give something like a nice red color to it, somewhere between like so, and hit OK, just for the reference, so that we can see it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my 4th stroke and drag this just a little bit forward than our logo comp, just a bit, maybe right over there. So now we have something like this. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the keyframes of the stroke 3 and F9 to ease them. So let's just give a little bit of anticipation by going into the graph editor, and let's just drag this right over there. So it's going to start slow, end up really fast. So yeah, that is looking kind of weird. Maybe I'll create kind of a peak in between like we did before. So I'll just drag this right over there. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the stroke. So the stroke 4. So I'm just going to drag this like so, maybe a little bit tweaks. Now you can obviously give some more extra time into the graph editor and create an animation that you really like. So I'm just going to go a little bit fast to cope up with the tutorial and keep it nice and short. So maybe I'll create kind of a peak right over there. Yeah, that looks pretty nice to me, and I'm going to do the same exact thing with the stroke 3 as well. So now you can see the layers that we split are coming pretty handy, so we can tweak each layer individually, and this gives a really nice control to our animation. So you can see now it looks much better. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the animation. So now I'm just going to close this. So I'm going to go to right over there to maybe 2 seconds, and I'm going to create a random shape like so, and this is going to act as a matte for us. So I'm just going to rename this as matte 01, and I'm just going to go to rectangular path and change the size to 150 like so, and make sure it's in the center like so. And let's just change the color to black, something like that. I'm gonna scale, then I'm gonna scale this up like so and drag this right behind our stroke, just behind the stroke, just to overlap a little bit. So hold shift to drag, and you can also use your arrow keys to just make it perfectly snap it behind our stroke. And I'm going to just drag this over our logo 1 comp. Alright, then I'm going to hit Alt and close bracket to cut this up and parent this to stroke 3. So you can just go right over there and parent it to stroke 3. So now you can see it moves according to our stroke. So now what I'm going to do is let's just give it this thing really nice color so we can identify it really easily. Then I'm going to change the logo 1 track matte to alpha matte. So now you can see our logo is getting revealed by the track matte like so. So this is a really nice tip, a quick and easy way to create really nice animation. Instead of masking things, you can create track mattes and do some crazy stuff. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Ctrl D to duplicate the matte and create another matte for our stroke 4. So I'm going to place this right over, overlapping to stroke 4, and cut this up to 3 seconds. Then I'm going to go and change the track matte, the parent to stroke 4. So now it's the parent to stroke 4, so it's going to move according to stroke 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my logo 2 comp above our logo 1, go into logo 2 comp and create a solid so we can see it. His name is BG, and give it kind of a really nice blue color and hit OK. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing like we did before. So I'm change the logo to track matte to alpha inverted matte. So now you can see our logo. Oh, I guess I did it reverse, alpha matte sorry for that. And now you can see the second logo comp is getting revealed. So this is how I achieved that effect that you saw in the beginning. So now I can split this layer to stroke 5, get rid of the keyframes and create the last animation of that closing, pop-up kind of a thing. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I go to 4 seconds, bring down the contents, rectangular and rectangular path, set the size to, let's just create a keyframe on the size, go to maybe 20 frames forward in time and set this up to, let's say something like 5. Go 2 frames forward in time and let's just set this up to 8 and go to, let's say maybe around 3 frames, or let's just go all the way up to 5 seconds and set this up to 0. So now if I preview it, you can see we get this really nice kind of pop-up closing effect. So you can just select the keyframes and hit F9 to ease them, select the first 2 keyframes and go to the graph editor again. Now this is the fun part, man. I really love this graph editor. Most of my animation time goes into this graph editor, so I'm just gonna make it a little bit different. So now the animation looks too fast, so I'm just gonna adjust the keyframes according to my satisfaction. Yup, I guess if I just close all this comp up and let's just preview it pretty quick. So let's just see what we have. And yep, that is looking really nice. Now I'm recording at 25 frames, but the animation is at 30 frames, so it may look a little bit glitchy or maybe a little bit delayed, but it's absolutely working perfectly. So now you can add any kind of a text or logo if you want to into your composition, into your logo composition. So I'm just gonna add something like that, maybe call this logo center this up. Let's just maybe scale this down to 55. And I'll just make this white. Hit OK. Control C to copy the text. Control V to paste this up. And change the BG color to white. Like so. Select the logo and make this kind of a red color. Like so. So now if I go back into my main comp, you can see, bam, we get this really nice and clean logo reveal, and it was that simple and that easy. You can also add a background if you want to. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of kind of a yellow tint to it, and let's just drag this down, and bam, it looks so clean, so simple, and so professional. So it is a pretty basic. You can also do a little advanced thing with this thing. You know, you can also use circular shapes or whatever kind of shape you can go with. So I hope you get the idea of what I wanted to share with you guys, and I hope this helped you in some or the other way. And if it does, then don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care, and thank you so much for watching, guys.